there anything at all like you would change about anything involving your career or anything like? Yeah, I think you know what I mean.
Hmm. It would have been nice to finish my PhD and get my doctorate. I would probably have landed teaching college somewhere instead of high school. Um, but but if I look at my trajectory from being a pretty good high school student to a not very good college student to doing some high school teaching and really I think not knowing what I was doing and then going to graduate school and learning some more math and computer science and then from there on, no, I don't think there's anything I would change because like the 11 years at Priory, I just loved and I loved the people I worked with. Your grandfather, Brian Berry, people like that who had an enormous impact on the teacher I turned into. Um, it was a real natural trajectory from, I mean, to put it bluntly, kind of teaching at the suburban West County Catholic school to being principal of a middle school in the inner city to kind of coming back home to where I went to school and hopefully retiring from here in 20 years. Those big things, I don't think I would change a bit. That's not to say that there haven't been screw ups along the way. There was that time I yelled at Brian Ramey at the back of the room, and there was that time when, I could tell you all kinds of mistakes I made, but mostly the big turns that I took on the path were all the right turns.
Is it weird teaching here that you? I mean, especially this place has to be significantly different than it was when you were going here. I mean, the the Jesuit wing they actually lived over there back then, and
Mm-hmm.
the, just all the new stuff we've had in the past few years, which I've been here since to witness show up. I mean, none of that was even an idea back when you were here. Is it weird being here and kind of
Um,
the different role?
it has its weirdness, I mean, I still call Mr. Schulte Mr. Schulte. Still call Mrs. Clinken Mrs. Clinken. I still call Mr. Keefe Mr. Keefe. He was the dean of students when I was here, so there's a certain level of that. Um, there are some neat aspects of it. Father Harmon and I were classmates. Mr. Zarek and I were classmates. So there's, pardon me?
Bachman's dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Chris Bachman's dad.
Yeah.
So there's some neat aspects to it. It is in many ways a very different school than when I was here. The aspect of the school that I always tell people about is um, when I was here, the teachers used to say things like, "Oh, when I was a kid, I wasn't smart enough to get into SLU." I probably was smart enough to get into SLU today, but I don't think I'd have been nice enough. The guys at SLU are really nice guys.
Yeah.
Um, they are gentlemen in the truest sense of the word. In fact, once upon a time, your grandfather said that the mission statement of St. Louis Priory School should say, "We're trying to we're trying to graduate educated Christian gentlemen," and SLU does that.
Yeah.
Not a day goes by that I don't teach a class and have somebody walk out of the door as they're walking out and say thank you. Um, that doesn't happen at a lot of schools. The guys here treat each other well. They accept each other. Um, there's a modern notion of manhood that St. Louis High guys have embraced, and I've never been inside. Now I've been inside the new CBC. I've been inside DeSmet. I've been inside the, but I don't know them as well as I know SLU. So I don't know what sort of a definition of manhood those schools would accept.
Right.
But the definition of manhood here is inclusive, it's more Christian, it's kinder and gentler, it's, it's extraordinary. And that's, I think that's the biggest difference. I mean, when I was at SLU, it didn't happen often, once, twice a year, there'd be a fight. I think guys could be mean in those days, and I know guys can be mean now. I'm sure especially freshmen and sophomores feel that, and maybe others do too. I'm sure there are kids here who feel ostracized. I'm not saying that. But I think it's a more loving place now than it was 36 years ago. I really do. That's the biggest difference.
Well, that's all the questions I've got written down.
All right.
Yeah, so I think we're pretty good here.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Mr. Corley.
You're welcome.
Thanks. All right.
Now, do you edit it or you just put it up straight like it is?